Good afternoon, everybody. So, today I'm going to go into the chapter of nutrition and health. We already discussed this chapter in your fourth semester. I don't know how many of you remember. So, we'll just go on a revision until the end of this month on some important topics. So, today I'm going to revise the topic of proximate principles and balanced diet, which is very important questions. So nutrients, the food which we eat is comprised of nutrients. So these are all the organic and inorganic complexes which are present in the food. So most of the food which we eat is broadly divided into macronutrients and micronutrients. So macro, as the name suggests, big. So they consist of the bulk of the diet, and they form the major portion of the energy which we take. So the other name of this macronutrients is proximate principles. So in this we have three different types: the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Of these three, carbohydrates form the major chunk of the macronutrients. That is, they provide the most of the energy which we take. Okay, next is the micronutrients, which includes the vitamins and minerals. So both macro and micronutrients are important for the vitality and maintenance of the body. So micronutrients, they do not provide the large sources of energy, but they are required in very minute quantities, which we have to take externally, but they are required for the functioning of the body. So vitamins and minerals are very important as well. So we'll discuss all the macronutrients one by one. So proteins are nothing but the complex organic nitrogenous compounds. Compared to fats and carbohydrates, proteins contain a very high constituents of nitrogen. So 1 gram of protein provides about 4 kilocalories of energy, and proteins form about 10 to 15% of the total energy intake of our body. So proteins are nothing but they are made up of smaller units called amino acids. So amino acids, when several amino acids are combined together, they form the protein. So we have this amino acids are again of two kinds: the essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. So there is a difference between both of it. So those amino acids which the body cannot synthesize and we have to take through food are called as essential amino acids. So we have to take them through nutrition, otherwise body will not be having the essential amino acids. So those are 9, we have 9 amino acids of such kind. They are leucine, isoleucine, valine, histidine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, and tryptophan. So these 9 are very important. So we have to take diet which is rich in this essential amino acids. Whereas we have the other counterpart, that is the non-essential amino acids. That is the body themselves, it will be synthesizing these amino acids. That is, we need not take externally. It will be synthesizing on its own. So in this examples, we have the alanine, arginine, asparagine, aspartic acid, cysteine, glutamic acid, glutamine, lysine, proline, serine, and tyrosine. So we have to know all the essential and non-essential amino acids. So coming to the essential amino acids, so as I already told, body cannot synthesize them in the required amounts, and they must be obtained from the dietary proteins which we have to take through food. So, and we have another term known as the biologically complete protein. So those food which contains all the essential amino acids, that is all the 9 amino acids, is called as a biological complete protein. So it contains all the essential amino acids in amounts corresponding to the human needs. All the leucine, isoleucine, histidine, everything, all the essential amino acids will be present in that food. So in that kind of food, we have mostly the animal foods. Plant foods usually lack in one or more of the essential amino acids, but the animal foods will be containing most of the essential amino acids. So among them, the milk and eggs are superior in having all the essential amino acids. Even if one amino acid is also not present, it is biologically incomplete. Okay. So functions of proteins. What does the protein do to the body? So definitely protein is very important for the body, because for the body building in athletes or some body wrestlers and all, for the growth of the body, for children, for growing children from infants till adult stage, the body would be growing, the tissues, the cells would be increasing in number and size. So all this for the growth of the body, proteins play a very important role. And repair and maintenance of the body tissues. Every day the body would be under wear and tear. So all the works which we do will be causing wear and tear in the tissues. So even in accidents or any sickness, whatever body is having facing through. So to repair and maintain the body tissues, proteins are very important. Okay, and also maintenance of the osmotic pressure between the blood vessels. So in the blood would be vessels, the blood would be flowing. So that it has to be maintained under certain osmotic pressure. So this function is taken by the serum albumin. Serum albumin is a component of protein. So the albumin will be playing an important role in maintaining this. And not only this, the synthesis of certain bioactive substances which are very important for the body, like antibodies, hemoglobin, enzymes, hormones, plasma proteins, coagulation factors which are required for blood clotting. All these are very, they are synthesized by the help of proteins. Proteins are required by the body. And cell-mediated immunity. So proteins also play a very important role in the cell-mediated immune response and bactericidal activity of the leukocytes. So all the immune factors which are present in the blood, they would be functioning with the help of proteins. Okay. So where do we get these proteins? As I already told, both animal foods and plant foods both will be containing, but animal foods are more superior because they contain all the essential amino acids. The meat, fish is very good source of proteins, and eggs are very superior. They're called as reference proteins. To say to tell a person to take protein means egg. We usually say the reference when you want to refer a food, that is, we can say it is an egg because it is biologically complete. It contains all the essential amino acids, and not only that, the cheese and all the milk products. Okay, this fowl, the chicken, poultry, and everything. These are very, very good sources of proteins. And similarly, in the plants also, plant foods also, we do find the proteins. The cereals, legumes, the beans, nuts, all this would be containing the proteins. But it's not so superior because they will be lacking in some or the other essential amino acids. So how to deal with this protein deficiency in case of vegetarians? Some people only take veg foods, like plant-based foods, and they do not take the animal foods, and they do not take eggs. Some even don't even take egg. Some even don't take egg and even milk also. So in that case, how they will be getting the complete protein requirement for the body? So for that, we usually suggest the supplementary method of proteins. So the essential amino acids that is in short supply in a given food item is called limiting amino acids. I already told you, if the food must contain all the essential amino acids, then it will be telling it as biologically complete protein. If one or other amino acid is missing in it, we call it as the limiting amino acid. So in cereal proteins, in plants like the cereals like rice, wheat, jowar, bajra and all, they are deficient in lysine and threonine. They will not be having this two specific essential amino acids. Whereas pulses, the grain, this chana dal, all kinds of dals. So all these pulses, we will be deficient in methionine. So how can we match now? If they will be taking cereals, proteins means they are deficient in some of the other essential amino acids. So the traditional foods which we are following since ages. In South India, we usually take rice, dal. That is a common combination every day. apart from dal, we will be having with some or other vegetable curries or fries or something. Whereas in North India, they will be having rotis. That is also cereal. So they will be having roti with dal curry something and another vegetable curry. So in that way, we can balance both that the lysine and threonine and methionine, they can be balanced because the one would be supplementing the other. So vegetarians always should be preferring to eat the combined foods so that they will be supplementing the food just like animal protein in respect of essential amino acids. I hope I'm clear regarding this. And how do you evaluate proteins? You have to know that you are taking optimum proteins. So some parameters have been suggested. There are amino acid score, biological value, digestibility coefficient, protein efficiency ratio, and NPU, net protein utilization. Among all this, NPU is considered as a more practical parameter in assessing the protein intake because it's the multiplication of biological value and digestibility coefficient, which is again divided by 100. So it will be combining two more parameters. So NPU is considered as a more practical and best method. So assessment of the protein intake. So both quality and quantity both should be assessed. So protein quality we can assess by examining the amino acids score. We know that all the protein will be consisting of the amino acids. So the milligram of amino acid per gram of test protein divided by milligram of the same amino acid per gram of egg protein is multiplied with 100. So here test protein means, for suppose we are checking for wheat, that is a test protein. So you will be dividing with the, say, you will be taking one amino acid, how much of leucine is present, how much milligram of leucine is present per gram of wheat, that is divided by milligram of same leucine per gram of egg protein. So we will be comparing with the egg protein and it is multiplied with 100. So the score usually would be about 50 to 60 for starches, like the tubers, like potatoes and all, for starches like that, and it is 70 to 80 for animal foods. So it's more for animal foods. Okay. Next, coming to net protein utilization, we said that it is digestibility coefficient into CV divided by 100. Here we have another formula for calculating this. That is the nitrogen retained in the body divided by nitrogen intake. I told you already, protein is nothing but it's a nitrogenous substance. So how much nitrogen it is retaining in the body after taking certain amount of protein, that is divided in multiplied into 100. So whatever food we take, it should be above 65. Then we can consider it as of optimum quality protein. Next, protein quantity. So that is, previously we saw the quality. This is about quantity, how much amount. So this is assessed by the parameter of the protein energy ratio. How much of protein is produced by a certain substance in the following diet. So this is about the formula goes by energy from protein divided by total energy in diet into 100. So by taking that certain protein, how much energy we are getting out of total energy in the diet gives you the protein energy ratio or percentage, which is again multiplied with 100. So if the protein energy percentage is less than 4%, it is purely unsatisfactory because we already know that how much protein should be contributing to the energy intake. It is 10 to 15%, which the optimum range is 10 to 15%. But if the protein energy is less than 4%, there is no use of taking that protein. Okay, so it should be increased. So not only that, the protein nutrition status is measured by the calculation of the serum albumin concentration. I already told you serum albumin is an indicator of the protein status. So it should be more than 3.5 gram per deciliter. If it should be above than that. If it is 3.5 gram per deciliter, it indicates mild malnutrition, and level of 3 gram per deciliter would be indicating severe malnutrition. So during the assessment of malnourished child, usually serum albumin levels are calculated. You know, when it's kwashiorkor and marasmus, we take the serum albumin levels as well into consideration while diagnosing it. Okay, how much protein requirement is needed for the body? So for average an Indian adult, the requirement is about 1 gram protein per kg body weight. So if you are 66 kgs, your requirement will be 66 grams per day. Okay, if you are 100 kgs, you require 100 grams of protein per day. So in certain conditions, in pregnancy, in lactation for growing children, the requirement is more because they'll be having more functions, that is the body building for the growth of the fetus and everything, for the milk production and everything. More proteins are required. So in pregnancy, apart from 1 gram per kg body weight, you have to take 25 grams per day. And in lactating mother, it is additional 20 grams per day. Whereas children 0 to 6 months, it is 1.16 gram per day per kg per day. If the baby is 3.5 kgs from 0 to 6 months, so you have to take 3 point into 1.16 grams. That is how many kgs are there that we have to multiply. That much grams of protein is required. And 6 to 12 months, it is 1.69 grams. 1 to 5 years, it is around 20 grams per day. And 6 to 14 years, it is around 30 to 40. So as the age increases, the requirement of protein is also increased. And next macronutrient is fats. So fat they are known as the energy dense foods because they will be providing a lot of energy. I told like protein will be 1 gram of protein will provide 4 kilocalories of energy, but here fats means 1 gram of fat will be providing 9 kilocalories. So in carbohydrate is also 4 kilocalories. Protein and fat both are, protein and carbohydrate both 1 gram provides 4 kilocalories of energy, but fat provides 1 gram provides 9 kilocalories of energy. That is why usually during dieting or to lose weight, we usually suggest to restrict the fat diet, because even if you take some, it will be providing so much of energy and it will be leading to the this adipose tissue deposition will be happening with this intake of fats. So here fats again are categorized into 3 types. First one is simple lipids, which includes examples of triglycerides, and we have compound lipids, which includes phospholipids, and third category is derived lipids, where under this cholesterol would be coming as an example. So in the body, cholesterol is carried in plasma lipoproteins. So in plasma, we have lipoproteins to carry this cholesterol molecules. So these lipoproteins are again classified into 4 major classes. It is chylomicrons and very low density lipoproteins, low density lipoproteins, and high density lipoproteins, HDL, LDL, VLDL. You are aware with these terms, okay? So to assess the total serum cholesterol, we will be adding up the LDL, VLDL, and HDL together. We will be getting the, to calculate this, we will have the total serum cholesterol levels. Okay. So among this, HDL is considered as good cholesterol, and LDL and VLDL is considered as bad cholesterol. To protect against the coronary heart disease or any kind of heart disease, we have to, the body should be having high HDL levels and lower LDL and VLDL levels. So these fats, upon hydrolysis, the fats will be producing the fatty acids and glycerol. Hydrolysis is nothing but will be divided lysis. Okay, we'll be having the fatty acids and glycerols. So again, fatty acids are of 2 kinds here. Like amino acids, we have essential amino acids, non-essential amino acids. Here fatty acids we have again 2 types: saturated fatty acids and unsaturated fatty acids. Among these 2, which one is good? Unsaturated is good, saturated is bad. So in saturated fatty acids, we have some examples like lauric, palmitic, and stearic acids. And unsaturated is again of two types: monounsaturated like oleic acid and polyunsaturated PUFA. You know that PUFA rich foods are good. So in that we have rich linoleic acid, alpha linoleic acid. All this would be coming under this category. So saturated fats are considered bad because uh, they are again like rich sources of cholesterol. The LDL and VLDL are more in, they are rich with, they're morely associated with this saturated fatty acids, and they are usually known with consumption of these animal fats. So the meat, especially the red meat, pork, beef, all these are very rich in saturated fats. Whereas unsaturated fatty acids, which is good for health, this is seen in vegetable oils like sunflower oil, safflower oil, groundnut oil, which we take. That is rich in unsaturated fatty acids, but it is not that in all the cases all animal fats are rich in saturated fatty acids. Some fish liver oils. So fish liver oils are, though it is an animal food, it is rich in unsaturated fatty acids. And same coconut oil, palm oil, though they are plant-based foods, they are rich in saturated fats. That is why it's not good to take. They usually they consider that the consumption of this coconut oil and palm oil is more dense foods, and it's not good to take in large quantities. So again, we have the essential fatty acids here. Just like essential amino acids, we also have essential fatty acids. That is, the body cannot synthesize them, and we have to take them externally through food. So this dietary sources examples we have. There are some types, like 4 types of essential fatty acids: linoleic, arachidonic acid, linolenic acid, and eicosapentaenoic acid. So among these 4, linoleic acid is very, very important because this is a precursor. This serves as a precursor for the synthesis of other essential amino acids like arachidonic acid and linolenic acid. So if linoleic acid is present, only the arachidonic and linolenic acid are produced. So it is a precursor for production of the other two. So linoleic acid we usually find in the sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil, sesame oil, groundnut oil, mustard oil, palm oil, and coconut oil. And arachidonic acid is seen in meat, eggs, milk. Linolenic oil, soybean oil, leafy greens usually find, and eicosapentaenoic acid is richly found in the fish liver oils. Okay, so this is about the essential fatty acids. Fats, as we have seen so many sources, both animal foods and plant foods both will be containing the fat foods, but more of the animal foods are rich sources of fats. And there are another term known as visible fats and invisible fats. What is this? Visible fats is nothing but it is, we know that they are rich sources of fats. Like ghee, we know that ghee is a rich sources of fat. And the cooking oils, oily foods, whatever it is, which is taken from seeds or groundnut or whatever, they are rich sources of fats. So these are separated from the natural source. Though they are plant-based foods or animal foods, they are separated from the natural sources and they're sold as different items. So these are visible fats. But there is another category called the invisible fats. That is, these fats, they are not visible to the naked eye, but they are present in almost every article of food like cereals, pulses, nut, milk, eggs. So these are our daily, we consume it. The cereals, the rice, it's like everyday food. We take rice every day. In the afternoon, in the night, we take rice. And pulses, dals, everything we'll be taking. Milk is an everyday food. But we take it as regular food. But usually in that also, fat is present. But though it is a very less quantity, they will be contributing to large source because that are the foods which we take in larger quantities. We will not take a bowl of ghee and drink. We will not take a bowl of oil and drink. We'll be only putting like a spoon or 2-3 spoons ghee like that. But my rice, this pulses, everything that is taken in large quantities. So they will be contributing to the fat composition. So they are called as invisible fats. So they are not present in the, we don't know like that they are fat foods, but they will be contributing to the major fat proportion, energy intake of fat from food. So they are called as invisible fats. So functions of fat. So is the fat required for the body? Because everyone is saying fat, taking fat means we will lead to the heart diseases, obesity and everything. But still, fat is very important for the body because they are high energy foods. And it only provides about 9 kilocalories per every gram. So when 1 gram is taken, it immediately provides 9 kilocalories. So it's a high energy. For the functioning of the body, we require energy. So it is it's a good energy dense food, and it serves as a vehicle for fat soluble vitamins. Vitamins A, D, they are called as fat soluble vitamins. So for the transport of these vitamins, we require fats. And also in the body, certain organs like heart, kidney, intestine, so they have to be placed in the body. So they require support. So they will be having a fat deposition around. This viscera will be supported with this fat. So, and also under the skin, for everybody, under the skin will be having a line of fat because it provides us against cold, to protect the body against insulation of against cold. So we require fat in the body. So these are the some important functions of fats in the body. So apart from this, these are all calorie rules, but we have certain non-calorie rules as well. So vegetable fats, these are rich sources of essential fatty acids. We already discussed them. They are required for the growth, structural integrity of the cell membrane and decreased platelet adhesiveness. So what is this decreased platelet adhesiveness? So for the blood should be in liquid state in the body. It should not clot until and unless you have a wound or some any accident or anything. When the blood flows out only, then the blood should clot. But inside the body, the blood should not clot. So for that, for maintaining the integrity of the blood and everything, this essential fatty acids are required. And this essential fatty acids also serve the role of reducing the serum cholesterol and LDL protein, lipoproteins. And this polyunsaturated fatty acids are considered as precursors of prostaglandins, the hormones which are required for the functioning of the body. And not only that, the cholesterol is an important precursor for the synthesis of steroid hormones and bile acids. So all the bile acids and everything, the hormones synthesis and everything, cholesterol is required. So hydrogenation, that is this unsaturated fatty acids, that is the vegetable oils, that we will be hydrogenating them, that is adding of hydrogen atoms. This, how it is done is, you will be exposing it into optimum temperature and pressure in the presence of catalyst. Then all these liquid oils would be converted into semi-solid and solid fat. So that item after exposure to high heat and pressure, it's called as a vanaspati or vegetable ghee. The dalda, we usually what to say. So regular ghee is taken produced from animal milk. So some vegetarians, they do not prefer the animal food, so they will be consuming this vanaspati. So this is very, very dangerous because the vegetable oils, which is usually considered as unsaturated fatty acids, that is healthy, upon hydrogenation, this would be converted into saturated fats, which is again not good for the health. So these are the different stages. So the vegetable oil, which is in liquid form, would be converted into semi-liquid margarine and soft margarine and stick margarine, and then it would be shortened. So in this way, it will be converted into a solid-like thing. So that is the vanaspati or ghee. Okay. So this is a very disadvantageous because unsaturated fatty acids are converted into saturated fatty acids, and the essential fatty acid content, which is high in this plant oils, is very drastically reduced. But advantage is that it is like it gives us like ghee-like consistency and good keeping quality. Even in hot, humid climates also, you can store it for long periods of time. So as this vanaspati and all, there is loss of this fat soluble vitamins. As per the government regulation, this vanaspati, the production we cannot stop it, but it can be made better by fortifying it with 2,500 essential international units of vitamin A and 175 international units of vitamin D per 100 grams. So to maintain a better quality, government has suggested the fortification of vitamin A and D to this vanaspati or vegetable. So what are these trans fats? Trans fatty acids. Trans fatty acids, nothing but the partial, whatever hydrogenation, like we have discussed before in the last slides. So hydrogenation of polyunsaturated fatty acids. So these are nothing but trans fatty acids are isomers of these unsaturated fatty acids that are they will be like the saturated fats. So these are very bad. So this fried foods like French fries, cheeseburger, pies, chicken nuggets, vanaspati ghee, donuts are all examples of this. You all know that this when we prepare all these kind of things, the oils or fat in them will be exposing them with the very high temperatures. So due to this high temperature, it will be hydrogenated. The unsaturated fatty acids will be converted into trans fats. Trans fats are nothing but like they are similar like unsaturated fats. So this is very bad. It is very the presence of trans fats in the body is very bad for the health because they make the lipid profile will be converting into atherogenic. They will be decreasing the HDL cholesterol and increasing the LDL VLDL levels. So in that way, they will be leading to coronary heart diseases. So whatever when you consume any kinds of food, especially the processed foods, it's always good when you check the nutrition facts which is printed at the back of the food items. So in that it's always good if you see the trans fats 0 grams. So if you see the ingredients, if you see, they will be giving like vegetable oil, canola, palm oil, partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil. So partially hydrogenated itself gives a clue that this the trans fatty acids are present. So you have to be careful while selecting the kind of foods. So it's always better to avoid the partially hydrogenated oils. So trans fats are not good for the body. So fats and disease, definitely fats will be involved in different kinds of disease, like due to deposition of the adipose tissue, we have obesity is increased. And what is phrenoderma? So you can see in this picture, the horny papular lesions. So this kinds of rough toad-like skin is seen on the posterior and lateral aspects of the limbs. Why does this occur? This occurs due to the deficiency of essential fatty acids. I told you that essential fatty acids are required for the maintenance of the body. If essential fatty acids are not taken in good quantities, you find this phrenoderma cases. This is especially seen in Kerala and Karnataka because Kerala, Karnataka, they usually take the coconut oils most. So this is easily curable because if you convert into safflower oil intake, immediately this condition is resolved. Okay, and coronary heart disease, definitely the foods which are more rich in saturated fats and less in essential fatty acids would alter the lipid profile and lead to coronary heart disease. And definitely some kinds of cancer like colonic cancers and breast cancers are also linked to the intake of more fat intake. Okay, and requirement. How much requirement is required for a body? So 20 to 30% of daily total dietary intake of the body is to be provided by fats, not more than 30%. And among that 20 to 30%, 50 50% should be vegetable oils rich in essential fatty acids. So adults should be consuming about 25 grams of visible fat per day, and pregnant and lactating mothers is about 30 grams per day, and growing children it's 20 to 35 grams per day, and cholesterol must be limited to 300 grams per day. That is the usual limit per day. Next important micronutrient is carbohydrate. This is the main source of energy. Though fats provide a very high dense energy immediately, but carbohydrates we usually take in high quantities, so they are the main source of energy, 40 to 50% of our foods. So 1 gram of carbohydrate could be providing 4 kilocalories of energy, and sources we usually starch and find from cereals, rice, wheat, jowar, bajra, all this maize, and roots and tubers, potatoes, sweet potatoes, all this. Okay, starch foods. And next, sugars, the monosaccharides like glucose, fructose, and disaccharides like sucrose, lactose, maltose, all these are examples of sugars. And next is cellulose. Cellulose is nothing but it's an indigestible component of carbohydrate. It does not provide any kind of energy, but it's like a component of dietary fiber. But it comes under the category of carbohydrates itself. So cellulose is nothing but plant food. So with this carbohydrates, we have another important thing is this glycemic index. So whatever food we take, it is converted into glucose in our body. So through glucose only, all the functions of the body will be undertaken. So we have a glycemic index for each food. To just like for protein evaluation assessment, we have some NPU and everything. For carbohydrates, we have this glycemic index to categorize them as high glycemic index or low glycemic or medium glycemic index foods. So here we have the definition as area under the 2R blood glucose response curve, AUC, area under curve. What curve? 2R blood glucose response curve. Following indication of fixed proportion of this carbohydrate as a proportion of the AUC of the standard. So here also we will be comparing with the standard. Here standard is a glucose, we will be taking the regular glucose or white bread. Anything would be taking as a reference for the for comparison of the area under curve. So here a graph is plotted between blood glucose levels which are raised after taking the food. After time, with time, how much? 1, 2 hours. So we have two variables here, 1 hour and 2 hours. So immediately what happens after we take food? It is absorbed into the body. It is transported to the small intestine, and from them the glucose is released into the blood. Okay. So this release of the glucose into the blood. So how fast it is taken? So with some foods, the glucose is released very fast. That is, high levels of glucose is found in the blood. Whereas some foods, they do not increase immediately. They will be at a slow level. It will be released and it will be absorbed slowly, and the glucose levels also will be increased slowly. So if you see this graph, this is a high glycemic index. So whenever you take one food, there is a rapid shoot in the blood glucose levels. That is, within 1 hour itself, the blood glucose levels is increased. Whereas this low glycemic index, see, it is increased slowly, very slowly. The peak is reached nearing to 1 hour, and then by the end of 2 hours, it is decreased. So why? What is the necessity of knowing this high glycemic? What so? If it is high glycemic index or low glycemic index? So this is very important in case of diabetics. So diabetics or even normal individuals also, if you take high glycemic index, the immediate shooting of the blood glucose levels is not good. So it causes more damage. So we have certain examples for this. The high glycemic index, it increases about 70 or more, the glycemic index range. So corn flakes, baked potato, some white rice varieties like jasmine variety, white bread, candies, the chocolates. and syrupy foods. All these are high glycemic index. So whenever you take these foods, there is immediate shooting of the, that is it's absorbed very fast, and there is immediate very large quantities of glucose into the blood. And medium glycemic index 50 to 69 range is sucrose, basmati rice, brown rice. So that is why we usually suggest that brown rice is better than white rice. So because of this particular reason, because it is medium glycemic index, it does not cause immediate shooting of the blood glucose levels. And low glycemic indexes are very better because the blood glucose levels are slowly increased, and slowly it is decreased. So you can have a uniform blood glucose levels. You will not have a high glucose levels rise. So most fruits and vegetables, but exceptions are there here, like potatoes, watermelon, sweet corn. Potatoes, watermelon, and sweet corn come under high glycemic index foods. So whole grains, pasta is again very good. Beans, lentils also be coming under the category of low glycemic food. So though most fruits and vegetables are considered low glycemic, there are again exceptions under this. So please note about that. So, this is where it is very important for diabetics. You have to suggest them to take only low glycemic index foods. So even in obese individuals, also those who are at risk of developing diabetics or elderly individuals, also it is always good to suggest intake of low glycemic index foods to reduce the probability of getting the diabetes mellitus in future. Even in heart disease patients also, we usually suggest them to take low glycemic index foods. And what is this dietary fiber? As it is mostly the plant-based foods like cellulose. So this dietary fiber will not be providing any kind of energy, but it will be absorbing the water. So it is like all the plant peach the stems and everything, the peach will be present in that plant food is nothing but the dietary fiber. It increases the, it absorbs the water and increases the bulk of the stool. So mainly for the easy passage of the bowel movements. So it will be encouraged in the bowel movements, and constipation can be reduced by taking this dietary fiber. So those who are having constipation problem, we usually suggest them to take foods rich in dietary fiber. Okay, or not only these problems, but it also has another function of reducing the cholesterol levels as well. So indirectly, it reduces the incidence of coronary heart diseases, and even the blood glucose attenuation. So especially the postprandial glucose after taking food, the foods which are rich in the dietary fiber, they will be reducing the blood glucose levels. So it will be coming under the low glycemic index category. So it prevents from obesity, colonic cancer, GI disorders, because most of the GI disorders are due to this constipation problem. So this will be reduced by intake of this dietary fiber. So daily intake per 1000 kilocalories, 40 grams of dietary fiber should be included as part to maintain good health. So mostly dietary fiber means only it is plant foods, animal foods will not be very less the dietary fiber. So what is this balanced diet? We have seen we have now discussed the vitamins and minerals. So all these proteins, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, all these are required for the maintenance of the body. If even one is not present also, we will be having ill health. Some way or the other, we will be affected. So balanced diet includes which contains variety of foods in such quantities and proportions that the need for energy, amino acids, vitamins, minerals, fats, carbohydrates, and other nutrients is adequately met for maintaining the health, vitality, and general well-being. And not only for that purpose, it should also make a small provision for extra nutrients to withstand short duration of illness. For suppose you are fasting, or suppose you met an accident, or you met with some, you had a fever, typhoid or something, you got some fever, you can't take food. But if that day if you cannot take food, means it doesn't mean you will die immediately. So you will be having certain energy reserves in your body to handle that particular situation. So the balanced diet includes all these functions. So all the proteins, vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, fats, everything should be present in good proportions required for the body. So if the present the body is maintained well, also in future anytime if any problem occurs in the body, that it has to withstand. So that is the balanced diet. So all should be balanced. So there are certain principles for this balanced diet. This includes all which we have already discussed. First and foremost, the daily requirement of the protein should be met. That is, it should be 10 to 15% of daily energy intake. Next is the fat requirement. That is 15 to 30% of total daily energy intake should be met. And third is the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates rich in natural fiber. So not the regular carbohydrates. Those which is rich in natural fiber should constitute the remaining food energy. That is 30 to 70% should be of this carbohydrates. And not only this macronutrients, similarly the micronutrients requirement also should be met. So this is the food guide pyramid which is developed by the USDA in about 1992. That is average daily one how to what kind of food should we take. They have suggested in a diagrammatic form. So at the last we have the bread, cereal, rice, pasta group. Here we have 6 to 11 servings. Here 6 to 11 servings means it's not like some 6 to 11 cups you have to take. Bread, 1 slice. Cereals, if it is raw, 1 cup. If it is cooked, half cup. Half cup cooked rice. Pasta, whatever cooked it is, half cup. So that is equal to 1 serving. So every day it should be less than that. It should be around 6 to 11, but not more than that. Next, similarly, fruit group, a medium apple, a medium orange, medium banana. That should be around 2 to 4 servings per day. And vegetable serving group, that should be 3 to 5 servings. A cup of cooked vegetables. Okay, even juices also. Either 3/4, usually 1 serving means 3/4 cup for fruit group or vegetable group. For juice means 3/4 cup is considered as 1 serving. So it should not exceed the number of servings. And milk, yogurt and cheese group, that should be 2 to 3 servings. Here serving means they will be giving in some ounces. Weight, based on weight they will be, just have a look. It means to go to understand in detail. So 1 serving means one cup of milk and 1 ounce of cheese, 1.5 ounce of cheese group, like that. And meat, poultry, fish, dry beans, eggs, all the protein group here. It is 2 to 3 servings per day. And the upper one, very least, you have to use it very least. So that is the fats, oils and sweets you have to use sparingly. So in that way, the fats, oils and everything, they have whatever food is present, they have again pictorially represented, and they have made like a pyramid. So at the broad end, that is we have to take more. So as it goes up, the intake should be decreased. So this is one food guide pyramid suggested by USDA. So this is again the WHO plate. So WHO plate means whenever you take any food in your plate, so half of your plate should be of fruits and vegetables itself, and half of your plate should be grains and proteins like rice, dal or whatever that thing should be the other half of your plate. And this one is, you have to have a cup of dairy, any milk, curd or yogurt, cheese or whatever, that should be 1 cup. So this has been suggested like to easily understand WHO plate. This is an most asked question in your Viva. So that WHO plate means half of your plate should be of fruits and vegetables and half of the plate should be of proteins and grains, cereals, and 1 cup of dairy. So dietary goals. So whatever food which we take uh, to have a good health to everything, that is a prudent diet. We have certain dietary goals, uh, which this will be having some, will be including the balanced diet principles as well. The dietary fat should be 15 to 30%. It should be limited to that, but not more than that. And among this, the saturated fats should be 10% of the total energy intake, and unsaturated fat should be substituting for the remaining fat requirement. And the excessive consumption of refined carbohydrate should be avoided. Refined carbohydrate means like sugars and all this. So that should be avoided. So instead of that kind of carbohydrate, you have to take the carbohydrate which is rich in natural fiber. And sources rich in energy like fats, alcohols should be restricted. You should not take more. And salt intake, the average daily intake should not be more than 5 grams. It should be less than or equal to 5 grams. And protein is 10 to 15% of daily intake. In junk foods like colas, ketchups, which they do not provide any kind of calories, but they are more of like unsaturated fats. So that is should be reduced maximum. It should be avoided. And always, it's always good to eat together with family instead of eating alone. If you eat together with family, it creates a bond, as well as it's like we say that it's healthy if you eat together with your family. Since you all of you are at home, enjoy your time with your family, eat together, eat healthy foods. Don't keep on eating junk foods, and don't order foods from outside, and try to eat all the home cooked food, because some of you are staying in hostels. You'll be missing your home food when you come here. So eat as much as home food as better, from which is good and healthy. So I end up the lesson here. So a good quote from Mahatma Gandhi Garu. God comes to the hungry in the form of food. So it's always good that you eat food in limited amounts. That is how much amount of food you take. That is something you take. Don't waste food. Don't throw the food. If food is left over, give to somebody who is in need of it. There are so many people who are in hunger on the roads. Those who don't have any access to food, or they don't have shelter to live in. So give to them, but don't waste and just throw it in the dustbin.